prisoners need books in their libraries, not to be confused with the jail law library, but the prisoners. Angel won't tell you much about yourself, but he has just recently returned from a national moot court competition in California where he was voted the 5th best oralist in the nation.
Wow.
Now that's pretty awesome until you hear his story, and then you're going to realize just how phenomenal achieving that recognition is. Angel, please come on up.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Jimmy, for that presentation. And my name is Angel Sanchez from the University of Central Florida's Moot Court team, and I want to thank also the OCBA Foundation Board for having us here today and allowing us to talk about this project that I'm very passionate about and very excited to share. Also with me, I have my debate partner, Eric Cerise, who's preparing to go to law school, and also my friend Jamal Baskin, who's a student community leader serving the Paramore and Pine Hills area. Just a brief update as to UCF's Moot Court team. We started competing nationally about 4 years ago, and we're proud to say that the last 2 years we've ranked in the top 16 teams in the nation to offset what our football team hasn't been able to do this in a couple of years. And we're proud to also have top 10 orators last year, and this year Eric Cerise is number 11 in the nation as well. Now, besides competing, we also are interested in trying to give back to the community. And so with that, we heard about the local jail's request for book donations to help build up their inmate library. And as soon as we found out about that, I personally, along with Cindy, we jumped at the opportunity. Their request is that they needed any books that you could donate, including Spanish books and Braille books. And so with that in mind, we said, let's take that make that one of our projects, and let's reach out to the community and help the jail in this endeavor. So some of you will see a flyer around in your table. If you don't, feel free to come and talk to me or Eric or Jamal afterwards. We could give you more information. But what we're looking forward to is that during the Law Week luncheon, it's going to be in April. So you have 2 other luncheons before then. Give you enough time to procrastinate, find what book you really don't want, or what book you think an inmate should be reading. And so in the April Law Week luncheon, we're going to have students here ready to collect the books and take them back to the local jail. Now that I've told you as to how to be involved and donate the books and what the project is about, I want to share with you why this project is important to me personally. I initially grew up in the inner cities of Miami, and I was surrounded by drugs, crimes, violence, and I grew up in a broken home. By the age of 12, I was involved in gangs and began getting arrested. By the age of 14, I was tried as an adult. By the age of 16, I had serious gang-related attempted murder charges and armed robberies, which eventually landed me in prison with a 30-year sentence and a 9th grade education level. However, going to prison back in 1999, before many of the budget cuts, GED was available. So I was able to enroll in some GED classes, but many of the GED books that were there were donated. So those were the books that we could take back to the cells and study. Some prisons had more than others, so that really determined how successful you may be in the GED program. Nonetheless, I was able to get my GED. I'm very proud of it. It's one of my most one of the achievements I'm most proud of, more so than even the 5th orator in the nation. It made my father proud, and that's all I had to show for it, that and a 30-year sentence. Eventually, I navigated into the law library and reading cases and beating my head against the ground, trying to understand them. I developed my writing skills and so forth. And I started self-educating, doing college textbooks that I would find, and also reading some fiction books that would take me places that I had never been, having grown up in the hood. And so with that, I developed a passion for law and for education. And I told myself, if I ever get out, I'm going to college and I'm going to be successful, and I'm going to prepare for that. Eventually, my sentence was vacated and I was resentenced to a 15-year sentence, of which I served 12 years. After serving 12 years, I was being released at 28. I decided instead of going back to the old neighborhoods, I had to start fresh somewhere else. And I wanted to follow this passion of going to college. And however, I didn't have anyone anywhere else who I could move in with. So I wrote to homeless shelters, and the Salvation Army of Orlando welcomed me. And then I wrote to the local colleges, which I knew a university wouldn't accept me, but a community college would. And sure enough, Valencia welcomed me. So from the homeless shelter, I enrolled at Valencia, became an honor student, graduated last year, 2014, as Valencia's distinguished graduate, and earned the national scholarship, the Jack Kent Cook Scholarship, which is funding me to continue my bachelor's program and also to go to law school afterwards. I came to the University of Central Florida, even though I was first blocked because of my probation. I had to have half of it completed, and I only had 3 years on 10. I got back in front of my judge, well, the division. There was a new judge. It had been almost 15 years since, and asked the judge to reduce the sentence. The state attorney stipulated to the reduction. They had a sidebar. She came back. She said, "I'm not reducing your sentence. I'm terminating it outright." I later found out that it was really prompted by the suggestion of the state attorney during that sidebar. The judge then, Judge Maria Elena Verde from the 11th Circuit, she said, "I heard you want to go to law school." I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Let me know when you're ready to intern. You'll be my intern." I said, "Immediately." And so I left my job, and it was my first time actually returning back to Miami. And I spent the entire summer interning with the judge. And so I went from a defendant in that division to an intern in that division, and walking into the courtroom when they say all rise with her from Chambers. And so being there, I was the only undergraduate intern. And it was very validating when I heard the JA say, "You are the intern that she's respected the most, and she talks to you and works with you like you're a colleague." And I actually drafted an order for her on an issue that we really were split on. And I took note of that, and she appreciated my writing skills. But I want you to take note of where that began. It began when I was in prison, reading these books, self-educating. Should that not have been there, maybe I would not have been as prepared and developed. I got accepted ultimately into the University of Central Florida, became a legislative scholar, intern in the Florida Senate, where again, those skills came back to benefit me and to set a good example for my work. Ultimately, I entered the moot court team, and as you all heard, we ranked 16th in the nation, Eric 11th, and I ranked 5th in the nation. But much of that success, let's be honest, it started with the preparations I had in prison. Many students struggle to be successful in school without having prison. Being in prison or being in jail, that creates an additional obstacle, an additional hurdle, and we're hoping to alleviate that obstacle, to put stones that they could step on to overcome those hurdles rather than allowing those hurdles to become stumbling blocks. So with that, we urge you to think about what books you would like to donate. You'll see the flyers. The only thing that is prohibited is books that are violent, sexual, or gang-related in nature. Any other books is welcomed. And keep that in mind as you think of those books. And please, 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 I know that since I'm speaking to a bunch of lawyers, you're thinking of bringing law books. Yeah. Many of you know that the Constitution requires judicial access, so their mandate is to provide law libraries. So don't bring an old statute book, don't bring a heavy book. Bring any other books that can be used in a general library. Thank you all.
So I'm sure we were all feeling pretty accomplished and proud of ourselves until he got up here.